Hello, welcome to the Interco Academy. Today we'll be going over Trackabout, the website portion, and the basic functions that exist. Now, some of you will have different privileges than others, so you may not see all of this, but in this presentation, this is from an admin standpoint. So there may be some things that you see that you didn't know existed that could be helpful, and hopefully we'll be able to provide some more information to each of you in regards to Trackabout. So that being said, we're just going to focus on the left-hand side today and a few things up here. We're not going to be drilling into anything in particular, at least a very granular level. That will be in another module. But we'll be looking at some very key items on the left-hand side and a few light examples, if you will. So first, you'll see this quick access box, as they call it, I believe. And the first thing is jump to. So after you become an expert in Trackabout, then you know what you're looking for. It's real easy to come here and let's say we type in rent. And rent gives you anything with the word rent. Or you could type in, let's say customer, and see everything that's there. It's just a jump to. It's not necessary. It's just another feature. Barcode is obviously the barcode. And where useful, customer calls up, says, hey, I need some gas. What is it? I don't know. It's in a cylinder. It's 14 different colors. You can always ask them, hey, what is that barcode number? And everybody's been to a grocery store. They know what a barcode is. They can provide that to you. And we can look that up and get that correct gas to the customer. You can, of course, look at the customer's history as well. But here, it'll tell you exactly what that gas is. Customer, you can look up two different ways. Let's say we're looking for a trading account, and you can type in training. And you hit enter, and you can see it looks for that word training. Or you could have the customer ID, which is the ID out of P21. You look at it that way. Either way, it'll bring you up here, or the customer ID, it should bring up that particular customer. We'll clear that out. Invoice. In a previous module, you saw the word order for Trackabout and invoice. And we use delivery ticket out of P21. They're all the same thing. So why Trackabout doesn't call this order, at least to match what it calls on another screen, I do not know why. But once again, you're looking for the 2 number here. If you input a 1 number, the odds are you're not going to find what you're looking for. So moving over here, if you click on settings, and each of you should have this ability, you can do the quick search. Let's say if there's an agreement number, if we had tracked agreement numbers, we could look at them here, which we don't. Lot numbers may be interesting for some of you if you want to do quick lot searches. Rental invoice won't serve you anything because the rental invoice number out of Trackabout is not the same thing as a P21. Serial number, it gives you a little bit more information, but really these 3 are the main ones that you really should be using. Next, you come over here, and it says this Help Wiki. And this is kind of like their embedded lookup page or glossary, whatever you want to call it. So to give you an idea, let's type in follow. And just kind of like the naming or the logic behind the customer, it kind of brings up everything with that word follow. So let's click on that follow on tracking. And it takes you to this page. And on the page, it kind of gives you some content on follow on tracking. And it kind of gives you this. It's decent. Kind of gives you some screenshots. However, if you want to compare this to, say, the help function in P21, the Trackabout wiki page is fairly dated. There are some other issues I've had where it tells you to do one thing and, well, that's already been upgraded, so you don't have to do it that way. So they do need to update these pages, but at least it gives you an idea of some of the functionality that does exist in Trackabout. And it's something I just recommend you just go in and possibly just type some things in that you might be interested in. So let's get out of that. Let's go back, just clear all this up. So next, we'll look at the management reports. And management reports mainly where the analytics reside, if you want to say the tools that are available to us. And let's look at, let's say, deliveries by user. And let's look at everything that was delivered in January. Here you go. And you can see my name is up here. That's because I had to do a lot of adjustments. So I've delivered none and returned none. It's all paper. But it kind of gives you a quick glance at the volume of cylinders and who's delivering them. And this is all generated by the app, or in my case, the website. So it just kind of, once again, gives you a brief overview. Just once again, it's just a high-level analytical tool. If you want to look at, say, fill report, this doesn't do anything for us right now, but when the plant comes available here later this year, this is going to provide on a daily basis, hourly basis, what we filled. This report will tell us. The filled versus delivered report will tell us X amount that we filled or X amount that we delivered. Will be a good report for, say, locating dead stock or shortages. It will be a very useful tool. Right now, it doesn't do anything for us because we're not filling. And there's some other ideas, other items on here that you can look at. But for the most part, that's what is useful for the most part out of here. Like I said, I think there's some new assets that you can say were added, how many steel, how many cylinders we added. Expiring assets, this would be useful if, say, once again, we had EPA protocols and they do have a lifespan of, let's say, a year, 2 year. It would tell us, hey, these are about to go bad. You need to try to sell them at least. So management reports, quick add doesn't do much for us. So let's go to lots. And lot reports. So say if there's an audit or something was wrong with a cylinder, what Trackabout does is it provides us another backstop. I understand that the paper is what drives everything in regards to medical. However, this kind of gives us a quick lookup tool. So here, let's type in this lot number. And we'll do a search. So it'll tell us, basically, this lot number, these people have this cylinder. And if it's been returned, it'll be different. But on site, these do exist. And once again, it's just another tool to use, just in case, that if there's a recall or something else, this will be helpful in taking care of that recall. So lots. Then we can go to, say, regular maintenance, where a lot of activity does occur. And just looking through here, this Trackabout activity is probably our number one tab outside of verification, which you saw previously in another module. So if you come to verification, it's going to have a lot of, basically a lot of open orders because we didn't have verification before go live. So you'll see, there's things back from 2016 for some reason as a test account, I believe. So there's things here. I said hour. So I would not go here. We do verification per each ticket that we get. We do not go through the screen, but just the verification process and Trackabout activity. If you wanted to see here, well, I said once we go here, let's say 2-1. Let's say, how many assets do we add in the past month? And you can come search here, and we added, it looks like 934 rows. So 900 and something cylinders. Unfortunately, this doesn't do much for us because it doesn't tell us what it is, how many acetylene, how many oxygen. But we know that we've added 934 assets. So moving on, the truck load unload. This is something we do not do. You've heard me talk about it before. And I'm not going to click on anything because nothing will really work, but I wanted to explain to you what it does. So once again, the function is not yet enabled, but hopefully I'm guessing maybe in the next 90 days or so. And what's going to do is require the driver to load their truck each morning or previous night. And they can only deliver what is on that truck. And the reason for this is it helps ensure that we have the proper inventory for the day's deliveries. So when we can also carry extra cylinders on the truck, that's not a problem. And at the end of the day, they'll be required to unload the cylinders. So the truck itself is really considered a location, much like Dallas is a location or Waxahachie. And at the end of the day, during the reconciliation process, we can see the following. We can see what was returned, but not loaded. We can see what's unloaded, but it was never loaded or returned, which I call the magical cylinders. It's loaded, but not seen again, so it just disappeared. We delivered it, but wasn't loaded. That's awesome. I don't know how we did that. And then we delivered an empty asset, which is really bad. But that's also good because then we can alert a salesperson or the customer, say, hey, don't use that because it's empty. We'll go out there and we'll take care of it for you first thing next morning. So there's a lot of transparency that we gain through the truckload unload process. Yes, it's another step that we have to do, but the gains that you get, especially from understanding what your needs are for their deliveries as well as the customer service, it does pay off. I've seen it before. It does work. So next we'll look at the customers tab. And the big thing here is to understand that customers, you do not create customers in Trackabout. Once we create a customer in P21, it's created automatically. Now the caveat is if you're on the app and you select, let's say, the order number as a customer number, you create a new customer. That happened recently with about a half a dozen new customers that still need to be removed. So why I say you can't do it, you can if it is a mistake. But for the most part, all customers are driven from P21. Also, you can see if you want a list of customer audits, and like I said, I won't go into it, but this will show you what's reconciled and what's unreconciled. It'll show you what's out there. You can then see, let's see here. New customer report. And unfortunately, this doesn't do anything good for us because all customers in Trackabout were new. The most powerful tool probably in all of Trackabout is this guy right here, transfer activity. And what it'll allow you to do is it will search all of the activity that a customer has during a given time frame. So especially useful for a cylinder audit. So let's look at our training guy. So we delivered some cylinders today, 2 and 2, and we delivered some cylinders on 125. Very basic stuff, nothing wow. But if you have a customer that has, let's say, 50 cylinders, 60 cylinders, and you're really looking for something, and they're always even exchange, and you scroll through, and all of a sudden you come across an order that's 2 and 0. Uh-oh, we probably should look at that one. Go back and look at the paperwork. Yep, sure enough, it's 2 and 2. Our mistake. It's very easy to find mistakes with this tool and can save minutes, if not hours, of research time. And once again, that helps us provide a better customer service to our customers because our turnaround time on an audit is not days. It can be minutes. So looking at the locations, orders, and search tabs, those are all kind of grouped together. And locations, the big thing here, current inventory. You can look at current inventory on your phone. So let's click on this. And let's say I want to see what's Dallas. And I'm going to see, oxygen, whatever. Let's say industrial. And I come here, oxygen. And these are all our different part numbers. And let's see here. Well, I want to see what's K. And I want to see what's full. And I hit search. And in our yard, we should have 105 cylinders. And once again, this is on your app, which is free to download. If you do not have a login, please let me know. This is a very helpful tool. And also, we do conduct monthly cylinder audits and true them up. So the balances in Trackabout and P21 should mirror each other. But remember, this information does not push through P21 unless we do it manually. There's no automatic, if you update it here, it's updated in P21. That's not how it works. So orders. None of you should really be using this functionality. It's really cylinder control. And you saw all my deliveries and returns, and that was basically because I was doing orders that had to get added for whatever reason and accounting adjustments. And the search function is kind of like the search function up here, asset, customer. Now you could have a certificate of analysis, which could be useful. Lot search could also be useful. So there's some additional functionalities in Trackabout if you kind of just drill into these sidebar menus. Then the create records. Once again, most of you will not be in here, but just to see what is available. And here, like I said, I use to reclassify assets quite a bit during the reconciliation. Outside of that, there's really not much that we do use. And the rental tab, right here, is where we create our rental bill each month. And let's see, create rental billing period. And I won't go into that. But what happens is that we create that rental billing period here in Trackabout. It's pushed then to P21. And two things to remember is, as I mentioned earlier, the rental bill in Trackabout is not the same one that's in P21. Next, tax is not calculated in Trackabout. It's calculated in P21. So do not give a rental bill that's in Trackabout to a customer thinking, okay, this is the right one. If it doesn't have tax, that's great. But the rental bill, I believe it's RC00879. That's nothing close to 300. So if they pay, cash application gets it, where does this go to? It's not going to marry up with anything in P21. You can use it as a reference information because it does provide additional information, which you'll see in another module. But as far as giving to the customer to have them pay it, please use the one out of P21. So that basically covers Trackabout. In the next module, I will show you the customer dashboard, which will show you a much more granular level per customer. As always, if you have any recommendations, questions, or comments, please email me. Thank you.